California Trout, in partnership with Pacific Gas and Electric and Stillwater Sciences, has developed Recovery Express. Recovery Express is a powerful conservation tool used to evaluate and prioritize restoration actions that most cost-effectively facilitate recovery of salmon and steelhead populations. California's water challenges have never been greater. Increased demands on California's over-allocated water system creates crisis on a yearly basis. We need durable solutions. We believe Recovery Express addresses this challenge by bringing diverse sets of interest groups together to discuss ideas, discuss specific projects, and discuss solutions. We brought together water users, agencies, nonprofits, Pacific Gas and Electric, Stillwater Sciences were key to this process. We developed objective criteria to look at actions that we could actually take and that we could be all supportive of to try to move forward. The process of bringing people together, diverse interest groups, to discuss what could be done is an important part of Recovery Express. We focused on the Central Valley, and one thing was apparent immediately as the group got together. Everybody had common theme. I mean, everybody wanted water, of course, for a variety of different reasons, but also nobody wanted to destroy ecosystems or impact native fish. So in the beginning, and this sounds simple, but there were very common sets of interests among what perceivably were diverse interests. And it was an important first step. Over the next several years, we gathered all these groups together to discuss needs, interests, specific ideas, specific projects, and work together to establish criteria for evaluating these projects. And important to that was a recognition that, yes, biology really needs to be important for sure, but we also need to take into account social and economic criteria. It became clear that science must replace special interests in prioritizing recovery actions. As we discussed around the table, coordination must replace conflict in planning recovery actions. And that if we could build an objective framework to help facilitate and inform consensus, we might be onto something here. And out of these discussions was born Recovery Express. And Recovery Express was designed to take all these ideas and take all this criteria and objectively prioritize. The biological criteria was based on the National Marine Fisheries Service's viable salmon populations. That's the criteria we used for the biological portion of the tool. We also importantly included economic and social criteria. For example, we had deal killers in there. If something was technically infeasible or stakeholder opposition was intense or just regulatorily wasn't going to work, then that knocked the project down the list. On the other hand, we had what we called sparkle points, where we included, if there were stakeholder support on the other hand, well then we could move that up the list. If it was a specific opportunity, if it had benefits to multiple species, if conjunctive use of water could be built in, if the timeline was really short, if it was doable, that would bring it up the list. Recovery Express was really a tool used to explore many different criteria to rank projects. We have worked closely with the National Marine Fisheries Service to apply this tool to their recovery actions for Central Valley salmon. We are excited to continue this process to use the recovery directions within NMFS's documents and apply the tool to help analyze specific projects and prioritize specific projects to meet recovery goals. And we're hopeful that because the projects being proposed have objective criteria and have been vetted by various interest groups, diverse interest groups, we can reduce conflict between agencies, water users, conservationists, and move projects forward and actually get them implemented. To date, Recovery Express has been used to evaluate over 200 recovery actions in the Central Valley, and we've produced detailed analysis of top 20 projects. We see 5 key attributes to Recovery Express. First, we've talked about that it considers biological, social, and economic criteria. We think this is really important. It employs also an instant ranking function, so that if a project is done, everything gets re-ranked with the knowledge now that that project is implemented. It facilitates, we believe, swifter agreement to actually implementing recovery actions, and we also believe that it provides a forum for coordination, and that can be really important to maximize impact on a regional scale. And finally, it improves the cost-benefit ratio for recovery actions. We think that the cost-effectiveness aspect being included in here is very important. CalTrout will use this tool moving forward in a variety of ways. First, working directly with NIMS to implement recovery plan recommendation for Central Valley salmonids. We'd also like to use this tool in other regions where California trout works. Southern California, southern steelhead, north coast, along the Sierra. We believe that those responsible for implementing mitigation projects will find this process and tool very useful to ensure that high-impact conservation projects get done. And finally, as much as we can empower others to use this tool to work collaboratively with interest groups throughout the state, that's a great way to leverage this tool over a broader audience. In 2011, California Trout celebrates its 40th year. Our mission is to protect and restore wild trout, steelhead, and salmon waters throughout California.